Tyler Hayes sat in the back row of the lecture hall, his eyes fixed on the data pad in front of him. Around him, the massive chamber buzzed with excited voices speaking in dozens of languages, translated instantly by the Academy's systems. Students from across the galaxy filled the tiered seats, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. Tyler had learned to make himself small here. At Galactic Academy Zenith 7, being human meant being unremarkable. His 2 arms seemed pathetic next to Krill's 4. His single head looked plain compared to the triple-crowned Selnari. His soft skin appeared fragile next to Thane's glittering crystalline body. 3 days, whispered Iris, an aquatic being whose blue-tinged skin required constant moisture. She sat in a specialized chair that misted her with water every few minutes. 3 days until they announced the trial world. I hope it is not another water world, clicked Krill, his insectoid mandibles moving rapidly as he spoke. My species dominated the last aquatic trial. We need a real challenge this time. Tyler said nothing. He had stopped trying to join these conversations months ago. Every time he spoke, every time he offered an opinion, the others would smile politely and then ignore him. Humans were new to the galactic community. Earth had only made contact 15 years ago. In a galaxy of ancient civilizations, humans were children. What about atmospheric worlds? Suggested Thane, his voice like rocks grinding together. His crystalline form reflected the lights of the Academy, casting rainbow patterns on the walls. High radiation, toxic gases, extreme pressure. That would separate the capable from the weak. Agreed, said Krill, his antennae twitching with excitement. The Deathworld trial should test our true abilities. Not like the simulation courses where everyone passes. Tyler continued reading his survival manual. He had read it 17 times already, but he read it again. Every detail mattered. Every protocol could mean the difference between passing and failing. The Deathworld trial was the final requirement for certification as a galactic survival specialist. Students trained for years to reach this point. The trial was simple in concept but brutal in execution. 72 hours on a classified Deathworld with only basic equipment. No weapons. No advanced technology. Just students and nature at its most hostile. The failure rate was 40%. Some students activated their emergency beacons within the first few hours. Others lasted longer but eventually called for extraction. A few had died over the years, though the Academy had improved safety protocols since then. The instructors watched everything through nanodrones, invisible observers that could intervene if death became imminent. I wonder if the human will even attempt it, said Krill loud enough for Tyler to hear. The insectoid turned to look at him directly. No offense, Hayes, but your kind comes from a very gentle world. Moderate temperatures. Abundant water. Peaceful fauna. The trial is designed for species with real survival adaptations. Tyler looked up from his data pad. His brown eyes met Krill's compound ones, each containing hundreds of tiny lenses. I will be there, Tyler said quietly. Krill's laughter was high-pitched, almost musical. Several other students joined in. Bravery is admirable, but this is not about courage. It is about biology. My species evolved in the fungal caves of Hectorus 9. We can survive without light for months. We can eat almost anything organic. Our exoskeletons protect us from most environmental hazards. My people, added Thane, crystallized in the radiation storms of our homeworld. We absorb energy that would kill soft tissue beings. Temperature extremes that would destroy you only make us stronger. And I, said Iris with pride, can survive in any liquid environment. My gills extract oxygen from water, ammonia, even liquid methane. What can humans do? You need your specific air mixture. Your narrow temperature range. Your particular pressure levels. Tyler returned to his reading without responding. He had heard variations of this speech many times. Earth was classified as a Class 3 garden world in the galactic database. Mild climate. Moderate danger. Suitable for colonization with minimal preparation. The classification made humans seem weak by galactic standards. The lecture hall doors opened with a deep, resonating tone. All conversation stopped instantly. Students straightened in their seats or adjusted their various forms of posture. Headmaster Kolveth entered the chamber. The ancient being moved slowly, each step deliberate. His body was pure silicon crystal, formed over centuries into a roughly humanoid shape. He was 3 meters tall, his surface smooth and reflective like polished glass. He had been headmaster for 300 years. He had watched thousands of students face the Deathworld trial. He had seen species rise and fall in galactic prominence. Students, His voice filled the chamber without speakers, resonating through the very structure of the building. In 3 days, you will face the final requirement for your survival specialist certification. A holographic display materialized in the center of the hall. It showed images of previous trial worlds. Toxic swamps where the water could dissolve flesh in seconds. Radiation-scorched wastelands where background radiation would kill most species within hours. Ice worlds where temperatures dropped to -200 degrees. Desert planets where heat could cook organs inside a living body. You will be equipped with basic survival gear only, Kolveth continued. 1 standard jumpsuit. 1 basic cutting tool. 1 water container. 1 fire starter. 1 emergency beacon for extraction if you choose to withdraw. Tyler watched the images cycle past. Each world looked more hostile than the last. The trial lasts 72 hours. You must survive. You must find food and water. You must shelter from environmental hazards. You must avoid or overcome dangerous fauna. Those who activate their emergency beacons will fail the trial. Those who require medical extraction will fail. Those who die will obviously also fail, though we work very hard to prevent that outcome. Some nervous laughter rippled through the hall. Kolveth did not smile. He had no face to smile with. The location will remain classified until you arrive. This prevents preparation for specific conditions. You must be ready for anything. Any environment. Any challenge. This is the purpose of the trial. Thane raised 1 crystalline appendage. Headmaster, what is the expected pass rate for this year's trial? Historical data suggests 40 to 50% of you will complete the trial successfully, Kolveth replied. The rest will withdraw or require extraction. I encourage those of you from gentle worlds to consider carefully. There is no shame in recognizing your limitations. Tyler felt eyes turning toward him. The human from the gentle world. The soft tissue being with no natural advantages. He kept his face neutral and continued listening. You have 3 days to prepare, said Kolveth. Use them wisely. Study your protocols. Check your equipment. Make peace with your gods if you have them. Dismissed. The headmaster turned and left as slowly as he had entered. The moment the doors closed, the hall erupted in excited chatter. Finally, said Krill, his mandibles clicking rapidly. 3 days until we prove ourselves. I have been ready for months, Thane announced. My people have a saying, the crystal that forms under pressure becomes diamond. This trial will show what I am made of. Tyler closed his data pad and stood. He was average height for a human, which made him shorter than most species in the hall. He gathered his things quietly while the others celebrated and boasted. As he walked toward the exit, Krill called after him. Ace, seriously. You should withdraw now. Save yourself the embarrassment. Humans are not built for this. Tyler paused at the doorway. He looked back at the insectoid, at the crystalline Thane, at the aquatic iris, at all the others who had dismissed him for 3 years. We will see, Tyler said simply. Then he left the hall. The transport ship shuddered as it entered the atmosphere of Trial World Kappa 9. Tyler gripped his safety harness and watched through the viewport as the planet's surface came into view. Red and black volcanic rock stretched in every direction. Plumes of smoke rose from fissures in the ground. The sky was a dark orange, thick with ash and dust. Around him, the other students stared at their destination with varying expressions of concern. Iris's blue skin had gone pale. Thane's crystalline body hummed with a nervous frequency. Even Krill's constant clicking had gone quiet. Attention students, came the automated voice. Trial World Kappa 9. Gravity 1.4 times standard. Atmosphere breathable but contains high sulfur content. Temperature range, 40 to 70 degrees standard. Active volcanic region. Aggressive predator species confirmed. You will be deployed at random coordinates across the trial zone. Your 72 hours begin upon landing. Good luck. The ship's cargo bay doors opened. One by one, students were released in individual drop pods. Tyler watched as Krill's pod shot away, followed by Iris's, then Thane's. When his turn came, he took a deep breath and stepped into the pod. The descent was violent. The pod shook and rattled, heat building inside as it cut through the atmosphere. Then came the jarring impact. The door hissed open and Tyler stepped out onto the surface of Kappa 9. The gravity hit him immediately. Every movement felt heavier, like he was wearing a weighted vest. Around him, he could hear electronic beeps in the distance. Emergency beacons. Already, some students were calling for extraction. Tyler took stock of his surroundings. He stood on a ridge overlooking a valley of black volcanic rock. Heat shimmered in the air. The sulfur smell was strong but not unbearable. He checked his basic equipment. One jumpsuit already growing warm. One cutting tool, a simple blade. One water container, empty. One fire starter. One emergency beacon which he clipped to his belt and tried to forget about. He began walking, searching for shelter. The gravity made each step harder, but Tyler pushed through it. On Earth, gravity was 1.0. This was only slightly higher. His muscles adapted quickly. In the observation room orbiting above, the instructors watched dozens of holographic screens. Each showed a different student's perspective through their nanodrones. "Look at the Hectorin," said one instructor, pointing at Krill's screen. The insectoid was struggling to move. His forearms trembled with effort. The gravity is too much for him. His species evolved in low-gravity caves. "The crystalline one is having trouble too," noted another instructor. Thane's screen showed cracks forming along his body. Temperature variations. His species maintains stable form in consistent conditions. These temperature swings between day and night are damaging him. "What about the aquatic?" asked a third. Iris's screen showed her huddled under an overhang, her skin already looking dry and cracked. The moisture mist from her suit had run out. On this dry volcanic world she was dying slowly. "And the human?" asked the senior instructor, a being called Velkara. They switched to Tyler's screen. He was moving steadily across the volcanic badlands, his pace efficient. While others struggled with the gravity, he seemed almost comfortable. "Interesting," murmured Velkara. "Pull up Earth specifications." Data scrolled across a secondary screen. Class 12 Deathworld. Gravity 1.0. Highly variable climate zones. Aggressive predator and prey species. Natural disasters including earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions and wildfires. Atmospheric oxygen highly reactive. Surface radiation from local star. "Wait," said another instructor. "Class 12? That must be an error. The humans claimed their world was gentle." "It is their baseline," said Velkara slowly. "They do not know any different. To them their world is normal." On the screen Tyler had found a cave system carved into the volcanic rock. He entered carefully, checking for dangers. The cave was shallow but provided shade from the harsh sun. He began gathering materials. By nightfall, Tyler had built a basic shelter using loose rocks to create walls within the cave. He had found a small seep of water filtering through the rock, enough to fill his container after careful purification using his fire starter to boil it. He had marked safe paths through the volcanic field, noting which areas had unstable ground. The temperature dropped rapidly after sunset. Tyler wrapped himself in his jumpsuit and settled in to wait for morning. He did not sleep deeply. On Earth, his grandmother had taught him to sleep light when in danger. Always listen. Always stay ready. Morning came with new challenges. Tyler ventured out to explore and find food. The volcanic badlands had life, but it was strange life. Plants with thick, waxy leaves that stored water. Small creatures that burrowed in the rock. Nothing looked familiar, but Tyler knew the basics. Watch what moves. Learn what eats what. Find your place in the food chain. He was tracking a small lizard-like creature when he heard the sound. A low, rumbling growl that vibrated through the ground. Tyler froze. He had learned this from his grandfather during hunting trips. When you hear a predator, you stop moving. You assess. You do not run unless you have a clear escape path. The creature appeared from behind a rock formation. It was massive, easily 3 meters tall at the shoulder. 6 legs, each ending in razor-sharp claws. A head full of teeth designed for tearing. Its skin was dark and armored, built to withstand the harsh environment. Its eyes locked onto Tyler. In the observation room, alarms chimed. "Kappa Ripper," announced the automated system. "Apex predator. Highly aggressive. Recommend immediate extraction protocol for student." The instructors leaned forward. This was the moment most students failed. When faced with a true predator, most activated their emergency beacons. It was the smart choice. The safe choice. Tyler's hand moved to his belt, but not to the beacon. He pulled his fire starter. The Kappa Ripper took a step forward, its claws scraping on rock. Tyler struck the fire starter once, twice. A spark caught on some dried plant material he had collected earlier. A small flame appeared. The predator paused. Its eyes fixed on the fire. Tyler fed the flame carefully, making it larger. He held a burning branch up, making himself look bigger. The predator growled again, but there was uncertainty in the sound. "What is he doing?" asked an instructor. "Earth survival technique," said Velkara, checking data. "Humans discovered fire. They used it for protection. Most Earth predators fear fire instinctively. Tyler stood his ground. He did not run. Running triggered chase instinct in predators. Instead he made noise. He waved the fire. He made himself seem dangerous rather than prey. The Kappa Ripper took a step back. Then another. It growled one final time, a sound of frustration more than threat. Then it turned and loped away, disappearing into the volcanic landscape. Tyler exhaled slowly. His heart was pounding but his hands were steady. He carefully extinguished the branch, saving it for later. Then he continued his exploration, now knowing that the apex predator could be deterred. In the observation room, the instructors sat in stunned silence. "How long has that human been here?" asked one. 28 hours, replied another. "He has found water, built shelter, and just successfully defended against the Kappa Ripper using primitive fire." "What is his name again?" "Tyler Hayes. From Earth." Velkara pulled up Tyler's academy records. Academic performance, adequate. Combat simulations, average scores. Survival theory, passing marks. Nothing exceptional. She paused. "But look at his planet of origin specifications again." They all looked at the data. Class 12 Deathworld. One of the highest danger classifications in the known galaxy. "He is not struggling," said Velkara quietly. "He is not even challenged. To him this is normal. Maybe even easy." On the screens around them, other students were activating their beacons. Krill finally gave up, his body exhausted from fighting the gravity. Another student from a low-gravity world was extracted after collapsing. The pass rate was dropping rapidly. But Tyler continued moving through the volcanic badlands, adapting to every challenge, surviving in conditions that would kill most galactic species. And he did it all in silence, just as he had done everything at the academy. 300 meters from Tyler's position, Iris lay under her overhang, her emergency beacon in her hand. She was ready to activate it. Her skin was cracking. Her gills ached. She was dying. Then she saw movement. A figure approaching through the heat shimmer. Human-shaped. Moving steadily despite the gravity. Tyler had found her. And in that moment he made a choice that would change everything. Tyler knelt beside Iris, his shadow providing her with momentary relief from the harsh sun. Her blue skin had turned gray and papery. Cracks spread across her arms and face. Her gills fluttered weakly, struggling to extract oxygen from air instead of water. Her hand clutched the emergency beacon, finger hovering over the activation button. "Help," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Tyler pulled his water container from his belt. It was half full, precious liquid he had spent hours collecting and purifying. He brought it to her lips. "Drink slowly," he said. "Small sips. Not too fast or you will get sick." Iris drank gratefully, water spilling down her chin. Color began returning to her skin, the gray fading back toward blue. Her eyes focused on Tyler's face. "Why?" she asked. "We are competing. Helping me hurts your trial." "You need help," Tyler said simply. He checked her skin, noting the worst areas of cracking. "Can you move?" "I think so. The gravity is so heavy." "I know. But we need to get you to better shelter. I have a cave. It is cooler there. And there is a water source." Tyler helped Iris to her feet. She was taller than him but weighed less, her aquatic species having evolved with buoyancy assistance. The gravity that felt manageable to Tyler was crushing to her. He supported her weight and began the slow journey back to his cave. In the observation room, the instructors watched with interest. "The human is helping a competitor," noted one instructor. "This will cost him time and resources. It may cause him to fail." "Humans have a strong cooperative instinct," said Velkara, reading from Earth's cultural database. "They evolved as pack hunters. Group survival often took priority over individual success." "A poor strategy for a solo survival trial," observed another instructor. "Perhaps," said Velkara. "Or perhaps we are about to learn something new." It took Tyler nearly 2 hours to guide Iris back to his cave. She was weak and the terrain was difficult. Several times she nearly collapsed, but Tyler kept her moving. When they finally reached the shelter, he helped her sit in the coolest section. "Rest here," he said. He began gathering materials, moving with purpose. "What are you doing?" Iris asked. "Making this better. You need moisture. Your skin is designed for water environments." Tyler used his cutting tool to carve a shallow depression in the rock floor near the water seep. Slowly, water began pooling in the depression. "Put your hands in there. Let your skin absorb what it needs." Iris placed her hands in the cool water and sighed with relief. Tyler continued working. He showed her how to use the fire starter to boil water for purification. He explained which plants stored moisture in their thick leaves. He demonstrated how to create shade using rocks and his jumpsuit to reflect heat away from the cave entrance. "My grandmother taught me this," Tyler said as he worked. "She lived in the desert regions of Earth. Very hot. Very dry. She learned to find water where others saw nothing. She learned to survive where the land seemed dead." "Your Earth has deserts?" Iris asked, surprised. "I thought it was a garden world." "Earth has many environments. Deserts, frozen poles, jungles, mountains, oceans. You learn to adapt or you die." As evening approached, Tyler's emergency beacon chirped with an incoming transmission. It was the general channel, available to all students. A desperate voice crackled through. "This is Krill. I am injured. Fell into a rock fissure. My legs are damaged. I cannot reach my beacon. Is anyone receiving?" Tyler looked at Iris. She met his eyes. "You are going to help him too, are you not?" she asked. "Yes. Even though he mocked you. Called humans weak." "Yes." Tyler gathered supplies. A length of cord he had made from plant fibers. His cutting tool. His fire starter. "Stay here," he told Iris. "Keep drinking water. Keep cool. I will return." He set out into the darkening landscape, following the coordinates from Krill's transmission. The temperature was dropping rapidly as night fell. Tyler moved quickly but carefully. The volcanic badlands were treacherous in daylight. At night, one wrong step could be fatal. He found Krill wedged in a narrow fissure between two rock formations. The insectoid's lower legs were bent at wrong angles. His mandibles clicked in pain. "Haze." Krill's compound eyes widened in surprise. "You came?" "Yes." Tyler assessed the situation. The fissure was too narrow for Krill to climb out alone, especially with injured legs. Tyler anchored his fiber cord around a stable rock and lowered it down. "Can you grab this?" "I think so." Krill reached up with his upper arms, his stronger pair. He gripped the cord. Tyler pulled. Even with the heavy gravity working against him, his muscles strained and held. Slowly, carefully, he hauled Krill up and out of the fissure. When the insectoid finally lay on solid ground, Tyler examined his legs. "Broken," Tyler confirmed, "but not shattered. I can stabilize them." He used straight pieces of rock and more plant fiber to create splints. His grandfather had taught him field medicine during their wilderness trips. Always be ready to help the injured. Always know basic first aid. "Why are you doing this?" Krill asked, his voice filled with confusion and shame. "I said terrible things to you. I laughed at your species." "You need help," Tyler said, finishing the splints. "Can you walk with support?" "I believe so." "Then we are going to my shelter." "It is not far." The journey back took even longer. Krill leaned heavily on Tyler, his injured legs dragging. But Tyler kept them moving step by step through the darkness. They reached the cave as the first drops of rain began to fall. Rain on Kappa 9 was not gentle. It came in sudden, violent storms that could strip flesh from bone if the droplets were acidic enough. Tyler got Krill inside just as the sky opened up. "Oh no," whispered Iris, looking out at the storm. Lightning flashed, illuminating walls of water falling from the dark orange sky. Tyler's beacon chirped again. Another transmission. "Emergency. This is Yara and Felix. We are exposed on the ridge. The storm is hitting us. We need help." Two more students, their voices tight with fear. In the observation room, alarms sounded. "Catastrophic weather system," announced the automated system. "Category 5 storm. Historical data shows 30% of trials end during such events. Recommend general evacuation." The instructors watched as emergency beacons activated across the trial zone. Students were calling for extraction in groups. The pass rate plummeted. Only 15 students remained active. On Tyler's screen, he was moving toward the cave entrance. "You cannot go out there," said Iris. "The rain. The wind. You will die." "They will die for certain if I do not try," Tyler replied. He wrapped his jumpsuit tighter around himself, creating as much coverage as possible. "Stay with Krill. Keep the fire going." "Tyler," Krill called out, "you do not have to do this. You have done enough. Save yourself." Tyler looked back at them. "On Earth, my grandmother told me a saying. We survive together or we die alone." Then he stepped out into the storm. The wind hit him like a physical blow. Rain lashed his skin, each drop stinging but not yet burning. The acidity was present but not lethal. Tyler pushed forward, head down, following the coordinates from Yara and Felix's transmission. The storm was the worst thing he had faced on Kappa 9. Worse than the gravity. Worse than the predator. The wind tried to tear him from his feet. The rain blinded him. Lightning struck the ground close enough to feel the static electricity in the air. But Tyler had been in storms before. Hurricane season in Earth's coastal regions. Blizzards in the mountains. Thunder and lightning that split trees in half. He knew how to move in wind. How to brace against gusts. How to keep his feet under him. He found Yara and Felix huddled behind a rock formation that provided minimal shelter. Yara was a small furred creature from a temperate forest world. Felix was humanoid but with skin that changed colors based on emotion, currently flashing between fear yellow and desperation red. "Come," Tyler shouted over the wind. "Follow me. Stay close." He led them back toward his cave, moving from shelter to shelter, timing their movements between wind gusts. A piece of volcanic rock came loose and tumbled past them, missing Felix by centimeters. The rain grew heavier, starting to burn where it touched exposed skin. Tyler pushed them into a shallow depression and covered them with his own body, taking the worst of the acidic rain on his back. His skin burned, but he held position. After a moment, the rain shifted direction, giving them a break. They ran for the next shelter point. It took an hour to cover the distance that had taken Tyler 15 minutes on the way out. But finally they reached the cave. Tyler pushed Yara and Felix inside, then collapsed just past the entrance. Iris rushed to him. His back was covered in acid burns, his skin red and blistered. "You are hurt," she said. "I will heal," Tyler gasped. He looked around the cave. 5 students now. Iris, Krill, Yara, Felix, and himself. Outside the storm raged. We waited out together. In the observation room, Velkara stared at Tyler's vital signs. Elevated heart rate. Pain indicators high. But still functional. Still thinking clearly. The human has just rescued 3 students in conditions that forced 15 others to evacuate, she said quietly. He is injured but still maintaining his trial. And he is keeping 4 other students alive. Remarkable, admitted another instructor. I have never seen anything like this in 30 years of observation. On the screen, Tyler sat with his back against the cave wall, drinking water, already planning the next day. The storm continued to rage outside, but inside the cave, 5 students had shelter, water, and fire. They had Tyler haze from Earth. And for the moment that was enough. The storm raged through the night. Inside the cave, Tyler kept watch while the others rested. His back still burned from the acid rain, but he had treated the wounds with water and kept them clean. Pain was something he could manage. His grandfather had taught him that pain was just information. It told you something was wrong, but it did not control you unless you let it. Iris slept near the water pool, her hands still submerged. Krill dozed fitfully, his splinted legs elevated on rocks. Yara and Felix huddled together near the fire, which Tyler fed carefully throughout the night. Fire was life. Fire was protection. Fire was hope. In the observation room, the instructors worked in shifts, but none of them left. They were witnessing something unprecedented. 12 students remaining active, reported the automated system as dawn approached. 18 have evacuated. Pass rate currently at 40%. Velkara studied the holographic displays. Each screen showed a different student. Some were alone, barely surviving. Some had partnered up. But Tyler's cave held 5 students, all alive, all with a chance to complete the trial. Look at his resource management, Velkara pointed at Tyler's screen. He has rationed the water supply to support 5 individuals. He has kept the fire burning for 18 hours straight. He has treated injuries on 3 different species using improvised materials. His own physical condition is deteriorating though, noted another instructor. The acid burns. The lack of sleep. The constant physical exertion in heavy gravity. He must be exhausted. Yet he continues, said Velkara. Pull up his homeworld data again. The Earth specifications appeared on screen. As the instructors read more deeply, their understanding grew. Earth was not just classified as a Class 12 Deathworld because of its environmental dangers. It was the combination of factors. Variable gravity due to altitude changes. Extreme weather patterns. Dangerous flora and fauna. Microscopic threats from bacteria and viruses. Parasites. Venomous creatures. And most importantly, the constant need for cooperation among humans to survive. Humans evolved to work in groups, read Velkara. Family units. Tribal structures. Early human survival depended on cooperation, resource sharing and mutual protection. Individual strength was less important than group cohesion. So when we put him in a solo survival trial, said another instructor slowly, we did not challenge his weakness. We challenged his strength. And he immediately began recreating the group survival structure his species is designed for. Dawn broke over Kappa 9. The storm had passed, leaving the landscape steaming as the sun heated the rain-soaked rock. Tyler stepped outside to assess the damage. New fissures had opened in the volcanic field. Some of his marked safe paths were now blocked by fallen rocks. The landscape had changed. He returned to the cave. The others were waking. The storm is over, he announced. We have one more day. 24 hours until extraction. Can we make it? Asked Felix, his skin shifting to uncertain orange. Yes, said Tyler with confidence. But we need to move carefully. The storm changed things. We need food and we need to conserve our water. Krill struggled to sit up. Hayes, I cannot walk well. I will slow everyone down. You should leave me here with a water supply and continue with the others. Tyler shook his head. No one gets left behind. We move together. That is inefficient, Krill protested. In survival situations, the injured become a burden. This is basic doctrine. That is one type of survival doctrine, Tyler agreed. But humans learned a different way. The injured have knowledge. The injured can heal and contribute later. A group that protects its injured is stronger in the long term. He helped Krill to his feet, supporting the insectoid's weight. Iris, can you walk on your own now? The aquatic being tested her legs. The hydration and rest had helped significantly. Yes. I am much stronger. Good. Felix and Yara, you scout ahead. Look for safe paths and any food sources. Iris, you help me with Krill. We move slowly but we move together. They set out as a group. Tyler had them form a line with the scouts reporting back about hazards. When they found a patch of the thick-leaved plants, Tyler showed everyone how to extract the moisture safely. When Yara discovered a colony of the small lizard creatures, Tyler demonstrated how to catch them using a simple trap made from rocks. You are teaching us, observed Iris. Not just helping us survive but teaching us how to survive. Knowledge is more valuable than food, Tyler said. Food runs out. Knowledge stays with you. By midday they had covered significant ground. Tyler was navigating them toward the extraction zone, taking the safest route he could find. His body ached. The gravity pulled at him constantly. His burns throbbed. But he kept moving, kept the group together, kept them alive. In the observation room, betting pools that had formed among the instructors were being settled. Tyler Hayes, the unremarkable human who had been given 10-to-1 odds of failure, was not only passing the trial but achieving the highest survival score in Academy history. His vital signs are concerning, noted the medical officer. Heart rate elevated for 48 hours. Pain receptors firing constantly. Sleep deprivation. He is running on pure determination. How is that possible? Asked a younger instructor. Human endurance evolution, explained Velkara, reading from the database. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. They would chase prey for hours, sometimes days, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Human bodies are designed for endurance over speed, for sustained effort over burst power. On screen, Tyler was helping Krill across a tricky section of loose volcanic rock. Behind them, Felix suddenly pointed at the sky. What is that? Dark shapes were circling overhead. Large flying creatures with leathery wings, drawn by the movement of the group. Scavengers, Tyler identified them. They hunt in packs. They look for weak prey. Are we weak prey? Asked Yara, her fur standing on end with fear. Tyler studied the creatures for a moment. They were large, perhaps 2 meters wingspan each. 6 of them circling. Waiting. They think we might be. We need to show them we are not. He gathered the group close. Make yourselves big. Make noise. Stay together. Predators avoid groups that look dangerous. He picked up rocks and handed them to the others. If they dive at us, throw these. Aim for their wings. The flying creatures circled lower. One broke from the formation and dove toward Yara, the smallest of the group. Tyler stepped in front of her and threw his rock hard. It struck the creature's wing, and it veered away with a shriek. The others followed Tyler's lead. Iris threw a rock. Felix threw another. Krill, even from his supported position, used his strong upper arms to hurl a rock that hit another creature squarely. The group shouted and made themselves appear larger and more dangerous. The flying creatures circled once more, then flew away to find easier prey. We did it, breathed Felix, his skin flashing triumph green. We did, confirmed Tyler. Because we work together. One person alone, those creatures attack. 5 together, they leave us alone. As the day wore on, they encountered more challenges. A section of ground that was too hot to cross until evening. A narrow path along a cliff edge where they had to move single file. Another deposit of acidic water that looked drinkable but would have poisoned them. Tyler guided them through each obstacle. He shared techniques his grandmother had taught him for desert survival. Methods his grandfather had shown him for wilderness navigation. Skills he had learned from a lifetime on a world that tested humans every single day. By evening they could see the extraction zone in the distance. A flat area of rock marked with beacon lights. They would reach it by morning with hours to spare before the 72-hour deadline. That night they made camp one final time. Tyler sat with his back against a rock, finally allowing himself to rest. Iris sat beside him, her skin now healthy blue again. "Tyler," she said quietly, "I need to apologize. At the academy I said humans were from a gentle world. I said you had no survival adaptations. I was wrong." "You were not wrong about Earth's classification," Tyler said. "Garden World Class 3. That is what the database says." "But the database is wrong," Iris insisted. "I have seen what you can do. The endurance, the knowledge, the way you think about survival. That does not come from a gentle world." Krill spoke up from nearby. "She is right, Hayes. I owe you my life. We all do. And I need to say that I was a fool at the academy. I judged you without understanding." Tyler looked at each of them. Yara and Felix nodded in agreement. "You are all welcome," he said simply. "We helped each other. That is what groups do." In the observation room, Yara compiled her final report on the trial. 12 students had survived to the final day. 18 had evacuated or been extracted. Of the 12 survivors, 5 were in Tyler's group. The other 7 were scattered across the trial zone, each having barely managed to survive alone. Tyler Hayes had maintained a perfect survival score while simultaneously keeping 4 other students alive. He had demonstrated skills that surpassed most trained galactic survival specialists. And he had done it while injured, exhausted, and supporting others. Recommendation, Yara wrote in her report. Earth classification should be reviewed. Evidence suggests humans evolved under significantly harsher conditions than current database indicates. Further study required. She looked at Tyler's screen one more time. The human sat with his rescued students, teaching them one more technique for the morning ahead. Even now, at the end of the trial, he was still helping, still teaching, still putting the group first. "Remarkable," she whispered. "Absolutely remarkable." Dawn on the final day brought clear skies and cooler temperatures. Tyler woke his group early. They had 6 hours to reach the extraction point, and he wanted to arrive with time to spare. His body ached from 3 days of constant effort, but the end was in sight. "Everyone check your supplies," he instructed. "Drink water. Eat what food we have left. The last stretch will be the hardest." They set out across the volcanic badlands, moving in their practiced formation. Tyler supported Krill while Iris scouted ahead with Felix and Yara. The extraction zone was visible now, a flat plateau marked with tall beacon towers that pulsed with blue light. They were an hour from the extraction point when Tyler heard the sound. A deep, rumbling growl that he recognized immediately. He raised his hand, stopping the group. "What is it?" whispered Felix, his skin flickering to fear yellow. "Kappa Rippers," Tyler said quietly. "Multiple of them. Between us and extraction." Through the heat shimmer, shapes emerged. 3 of the massive 6-legged predators, each one a killing machine built for this harsh world. They had positioned themselves in the path to the extraction zone, waiting for desperate students to stumble into their territory. "We cannot fight them," said Krill, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Even one nearly killed you before." "We will not fight them," Tyler replied. He studied the predators, watching how they moved, how they positioned themselves. "We will make them move." He turned to the group. "I need everyone to gather rocks. Lots of them. Yara, can you make loud sounds? High-pitched sounds?" "Yes," said Yara. "My species uses sound to communicate across distances." "Good." "Iris, how are you with the fire starter now?" "I can use it," Iris confirmed. Tyler began arranging rocks in a line, creating a barrier between them and the predators. "Here's what we do. We make ourselves appear bigger and more dangerous than we are. We use fire. We use noise. We use group tactics. These predators are smart, but they are also cautious. They will not attack prey that seems too dangerous." He positioned everyone strategically. Felix and Yara on the flanks, making the group look wider. Iris in the center with fire. Krill behind, ready to throw rocks with his powerful upper arms. Tyler in front, visible and defiant. "On my signal," Tyler said. He picked up a large rock and stepped forward. The three Kappa Rippers focused on him, their heads lowering in hunting posture. Tyler roared. It was a sound from deep in his chest, a challenge that carried across the volcanic plain. Simultaneously, Yara began her high-pitched call. Iris struck the fire starter, creating a burst of flame. Felix waved his arms, his skin flashing bright warning red. Krill threw rocks that struck the ground near the predator's feet. The group advanced together, maintaining their line, making constant noise and movement. They were 5 instead of 1. They had fire. They had weapons. They appeared coordinated and dangerous. The lead Kappa Ripper snarled and took a step back. Tyler pressed forward, the group moving with him. He threw his rock, hitting the predator's armored hide. It did no damage, but it sent a message. We are not afraid. We will fight. The predators communicated with each other through low growls. They were calculating risk versus reward. 5 prey, but 5 prey that fought back. 5 prey with fire and coordination. Not worth the injury. The predators turned and loped away, heading toward easier hunting grounds. Tyler watched them go, his heart pounding before lowering his arms. Keep moving. We do not celebrate until we reach extraction. They covered the final distance without further incident. As they stepped onto the extraction plateau, the beacon towers registered their arrival. A holographic timer appeared, showing 4 hours remaining before the 72-hour deadline. We made it, whispered Iris, her voice filled with disbelief. Around them, other students were emerging from the Badlands. A crystalline being from a high-radiation world. A methane breather in an environmental suit. A silicon-based species that had weathered the temperature extremes. Each one had survived alone, barely clinging to success. They stared at Tyler's group with confusion and respect. 5 students together. All alive. All functional. A medical team moved among the survivors, treating injuries and checking vital signs. They spent extra time with Tyler, noting his acid burns, his dehydration, his exhaustion. You need immediate treatment, insisted the medic. After extraction, Tyler replied. I finished the trial first. The transport ships arrived precisely at the 72-hour mark. Tyler helped Krill aboard, then made sure Iris, Felix and Yara were safely inside before he climbed in himself. Only then did he allow himself to sit, to close his eyes, to let the adrenaline finally fade. The journey back to the academy took 6 hours. Tyler slept most of the way, his body finally demanding rest. When they arrived, the medical team took him directly to the treatment center. They healed his burns, rehydrated him, and made him rest for another 12 hours before the ceremony. The academy's grand hall was filled for the trial completion ceremony. Students from all years attended. Instructors lined the walls. Headmaster Kolveth stood on the central platform, his crystalline form reflecting the lights into rainbow patterns. Tyler sat with Iris, Krill, Felix and Yara. They had formed a bond through survival, something deeper than academy friendships. Students, Kolveth's voice resonated through the hall. The Deathworld trial has concluded. Of 30 participants, 12 have successfully completed the 72-hour requirement. Holographic displays showed images from the trial. Students struggling with gravity. The catastrophic storm. The flying predators. The Kappa Rippers. This year's trial took place on Kappa 9, a Class 9 Deathworld. One of the more challenging environments we use for testing. Kolveth paused. However, something unprecedented occurred during this trial. The displays changed to show Tyler's cave. The 5 students sheltering together. Tyler venturing into the storm. The confrontation with the predators. One student not only survived with a perfect score but maintained 4 other students through conditions that caused 18 to evacuate. This student demonstrated skills and knowledge that exceed our instructor expectations. Kolveth's attention fixed on Tyler. Tyler Hayes. Please stand. Tyler stood, feeling every eye in the hall upon him. Your performance has caused us to review our databases, Kolveth continued. We believed humans came from a gentle world. Our classification listed Earth as Class 3, suitable for colonization with minimal adaptation. The holographic display changed again, showing Earth from space. Blue oceans. Green continents. White clouds. But our classification was based on surface observation only. We did not understand what it meant to evolve on Earth. The display zoomed in, showing hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, Tsunamis. Earth is not Class 3. After reviewing comprehensive data, we have reclassified it as Class 12. One of the most lethal worlds known to galactic civilization. Shocked murmurs filled the hall. Class 12 worlds were considered too dangerous for most species. They were the kind of planets that killed colonists within weeks. Kappa 9, where you just survived, is Class 9, said Kolveth. For Tyler Hayes, this trial was not a challenge. It was easier than the world he calls home. Tyler felt the weight of stares intensify. Iris reached over and squeezed his hand in support. But more than surviving, you demonstrated something we have rarely seen in galactic civilization. You showed that true strength is not individual dominance but group cohesion. You shared knowledge. You protected the injured. You risked personal success for collective survival. Kolveth paused. These are not just survival skills. These are leadership qualities. A figure stepped forward from the crowd. Tall, humanoid but covered in adaptive bioarmor. I am Commander Petra of the Galactic Survival Guild, she announced. We recruit from Deathworld species only. Our members are the best survival specialists in known space. We respond to disasters, explore hostile worlds, and train military units in extreme environment tactics. She approached Tyler, her armor shifting colors to match her movements. Tyler Hayes, the Guild wishes to offer you immediate membership upon graduation. We have watched your entire trial. We have seen what you can do. We need people like you. Tyler looked at Commander Petra, then at his friends, then at the assembled academy. For 3 years he had been silent. He had been dismissed. He had been invisible. Now everyone was listening. I accept, Tyler said, his voice clear and steady. But I have a condition. Name it, said Commander Petra. Tyler gestured to Iris, Krill, Felix, and Yara. These 4 showed courage on Kappa 9. They adapted. They learned. They worked together. If you want me, you consider them too. Commander Petra studied the group. An aquatic being. An insectoid. A color-changing humanoid. A small furred creature. Species from gentle worlds, now marked by survival on a death world. Agreed, she said. They will need training, but they have proven they can learn. The hall erupted in applause. Kolveth raised his crystalline arms for silence. Tyler Hayes, you have taught us something valuable today. You have shown us that we underestimated humanity. We saw your quiet nature and assumed weakness. We did not understand that humans are quiet because you have nothing to prove. You evolved on a world that tested you every single day. You learned that survival is not about boasting. It is about doing. Tyler nodded slowly. My grandmother used to say something. The loudest voice in the room is usually the most afraid. The quiet ones have already survived what the loud ones only talk about. Wise words, said Kolveth. From a wise species. After the ceremony, Tyler stood outside the hall with his group. Ships passed overhead, carrying students to their home worlds. The galaxy stretched above them, infinite and full of possibilities. So, said Iris. The Galactic Survival Guild. Are you ready for that? Tyler smiled, a rare expression from him. I am ready for real challenges now. Kappa 9 was just practice. Krill clicked his mandibles in amusement. Just practice. The human calls a Class 9 Deathworld practice. Because compared to Earth, Tyler said quietly, it was. They stood together, 5 students who had become something more. They had survived. They had learned. And now they would take those lessons forward into the galaxy. Tyler Hayes had been the silent student. But his actions had spoken louder than any words. He had proven that humanity's strength came not from superior technology or physical dominance, but from the ability to endure, to adapt, and to lift others up even in the darkest moments. Earth was Class 12. And the galaxy was finally beginning to understand what that meant.